very good morning. You're watching NewsX and I'm Shivani Singh. Gold has been regarded as one of the safest investments for many years because it has a proven track record of preserving wealth during periods of inflation and market volatility. As a valuable metal, gold has served for centuries not only as a symbol of wealth but also as a reliable store of value, making it a popular choice for investors seeking a measure of protection during uncertain times. Let's take a detailed look at today's gold prices and we'll compare it to prices from yesterday, last week, last year and last month. So when we look at gold prices per gram today versus yesterday, 24th November 2025, 24 karat gold today stands at 12,513, while yesterday it was at 12,599. So that's a slight correction in the gold rates. 22 karat gold today stood at 11,470 rupees, while on 23rd November, which is yesterday, it stood at 11,550 rupees. So again over here a slight decrease, so that's a slight correction that the gold prices are witnessing. 18 karat gold also today stood at 9,385, while yesterday it was at 9,453 rupees. So we are seeing a slight reduction in the gold prices because they are trying to stabilize the prices after it hit an all-time high in October. When we look at last week prices, we will see that the range however is very similar. So today's gold prices, like we mentioned, 24 karat gold per gram stood at 12,513. Last week on November 17th, it was at 12,522 rupees. 22 karat gold last week it was at 11,479 and today it's at 11,470. 18 karat gold is at 9,395 and today it's at 9,385. So you can see that those slight corrections keep happening between the entire week, and when we compare it to prices over the last week, we can see a slight decrease. However, when we compare it to last month, we will see a slight increase. So like we have been mentioning, it is the gold prices are trying to stabilize itself. So today when it stands at 24 karat gold stands at 12,513 rupees. Last month on October 24th, it stood at 12,437 rupees. 22 karat gold per gram today stands at 11,470 and last month it stood at 11,400 rupees. 18 karat gold stood at 9,385 and last month it stood at 9,328 rupees. So clearly you can see those minor increase in prices as well when we compare it to last month. However, when we compare it to last year, which is a longer duration, when we look at the entire graph, we will see that the increase has been very significant. So 24 karat gold last year on 24th November 2024 stood at 7,964 rupees and today it's at 12,513. 22 karat gold last year stood at 7,300 rupees only and today it's at 11,470. 18 karat gold stood at 5,973 rupees and today it's at 9,385. So clearly you can see that when we compare it to a larger duration, we will always see a significant rise in the gold prices. Joining us on the broadcast is Dr. Sharat Kohli, Senior Economist. Thank you, sir, for joining us on the broadcast. Appreciate your time. This morning, when we are looking at gold prices, sir, how do you look at the COMEX market? Because we are seeing that gold prices are seeing a significant decrease. The dollar price is stabilizing. It's going to reach a 6-month high. So that might have affected the gold prices here as well. And we are also expecting those federal rate cuts. However, the probability of those rate cuts have gone down from 74 to 69% now. So how will that in fact affect the gold prices?
Good morning, Shivani, to you and NewsX viewers. Yes, there have been some developments over the last 48 hours. Obviously, the Fed meeting is going to happen the outcome is going to come on the 10th of December. So we'll know if the rate cut is there. We will see some surge in gold prices happening from here. But a very unique thing has happened. As the Sarafa Bazaar Association opens the rates today, you will find that although in US dollars, the price has corrected from about $4,070, $4,080, down to about $4,040. But rupee has become weaker vis-a-vis dollar. So this happens sometimes that even though in dollar terms at the New York COMEX the price falls, but then because of rupee becoming weaker as compared to dollar, you will find that Indian prices either do not change or even go up for that matter. Because as I said, they calculate in ounce, we calculate in 10 grams, they calculate in dollars, we calculate in rupees. So you will see rupee versus dollar impact on gold prices. So the Indian prices may not after all go as much down as we observed at COMEX. We will know at about afternoon, at about 12, the Sarafa Bazaar Association opens its prices for the day for being traded in the country, and the other smaller cities in the country, they cast that price and the gold gets traded according to the logistic cost being added for here and there. Another important development, Shivani, which has happened that I came to know, although this needs to be confirmed at international level, that Russia wants to sell some gold out of its reserves. And Russia is amongst the top 5 to 7 countries with gold reserves. It's got gold reserves of about 2,500 to 2,300 tons. It wants to sell some of the gold because it needs funding for the weapons which it is using against Ukraine. So if that selling happens, although it may not be a very significant selling, but if that selling happens, you might see further correction happening. Plus some efforts have been made, Shivani. On the Russia-Ukraine front by President Trump, there's a meeting happening in Geneva where a peace formula is being worked out. Although the chances of that peace formula being accepted by Europe and Ukraine is very, very minimal, because Ukraine doesn't want to compromise its sovereignty. 1/3 of the territory, US wants Ukraine to surrender to Russia to buy peace, which I don't think President Zelensky would be in a position to make the Ukrainians and Europeans agree. So, but anyway, there is a dialogue for peace formula. So there has been some correction because of that also. I mean, some people expect geopolitical tensions to be settling down, although I don't see that happening. But I really do not see a very significant change here because you track on a day-on-day basis. So it's always, it is appropriate for you to point out that from 4,070, we've come down to 4,040 or 50. It is a minor change, but as I said, the consolidation price now is between $4,000 to $4,100. So any movement between this, Shivani, is not really very, very significant. It's not really relevant. It's not really important, because an important movement would be when it breaks the support level. The support level is around $4,000 to $3,950, and resistance level is about $4,200. So when it breaks this support or resistance, that's when we will go dive into what happened. But for now, yes, there is a speculative element. You will see some trading happening, and as I said, there is a contract expiry in the US which is going to happen this week. So that will make the volatility even more. In fact, for the benefit of NewsX viewers, there is also an index called GVI. It's called the Gold Volatility Index. So that index is high as of now, because that shows the fear factor in gold, the speed at which the prices go up and down. So because of the monthly contract expiry in the US, you will see very high volatility going up and down. Of course, the major trigger would be the Fed rates, which will be around 10th of December when we come to know as to what happens, whether Fed ended up cutting the rates. Although Williams, one of the Fed officials, has given the statement that yes, there might be a rate cut because inflation is under control, but we need to wait for the big day to see what happens. So that will trigger some movement, and of course the geopolitical tensions will also define as to where the gold prices go from where we are right now, Shivani.
Absolutely.